Hey there. So today I'm going to use this Extreme Vehicle Pack, this military vehicle right here. What I want to do is I want to make some edits to it, the vehicle, because this comes as one mesh. So I'm going to use ProBuilder to make edits. So if you look on their main site, you can actually buy it straight from their site. You'll see that it is possible to, right here, to Probuilderize geometry. So that is what we are going to do. So what I did is I created a new scene. I just made a ground mesh just so I have something underneath. And the extreme vehicles, it's under this miscellaneous. It's this APC, which I can't remember what that stands for. So I pull this into the scene. I've already have my ProBuilder set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually select the vehicle. You'll see it's just a regular mesh. I haven't done anything to it yet. And then I'm going to go under Tools, ProBuilder, under Actions. I'm going to ProBuilderize a selection, but I'm going to preserve the faces because you see all these triangles. I want to keep the faces, keep everything together. So I'm going to do that. All right, so that may take a minute or two to do. So now you'll see you have your PB object and your entity, and this is fully edited. So before I do anything, I'm just going to change the name of it. And I'm going to move it to my prefabs folder. So now we can actually edit it. So you've got all the different pieces, just like ProBuilder, just like if you created it from scratch in ProBuilder. So I'm going to focus on this turret. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to grab the whole turret. I'm hitting this grow button. So I'm just going to grab some various parts of it. And what I want to try to do is grab the whole turret mesh so that I can separate it from the rest of the model. I think I've grabbed it all. So I will go under the geometry and detach to a new object. Alright, and once that's done, you're going to have a new object. So it may take a minute. I paused the video while it was doing everything. And you should have a new object. You can see here. I mean, you can see there was a little bit of a base underneath that I missed, but I don't think that'll be a problem because, you know, it covers it. And then, you know, you'll be able to do things like we need to fix the pivot, but you'll be able to rotate this object when we're done, like if for some reason you want to animate it. So you can see the pivot's off. We definitely want to fix that. So I'm going to fix the pivot real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the base right here and I'm going to set the pivot. So now when I rotate it, it should rotate, yeah. See, it rotates on the pivot. So if I want to allow the player to be able to control this, I can set it up so that it just pivots around that. From here, I'm just gonna make this a child so that wherever the vehicle goes, that goes. And so I'm gonna do the same thing for the this 50 cal, and I'm gonna grab this little object as well, and I'm gonna make it a child. So I'm gonna go through all the same steps. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pause the video, and I'm gonna do that. Yeah, as I'm going through this, I wanted to kind of pause and mention something. It's good to keep your new objects separate while you're still working on the main mesh. So for instance, I'm gonna take this gun and separate it, and it seems to work better when you have your other separated meshes. You'll see I gave them names. Keep it apart, and it just kind of helps when you break it apart further. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone through basically the whole model, and I've broken up all the different pieces that I might want to use. I put the letter of what I want the rotation to be, so Y, so for instance, see, it'll rotate around the Y. And I added things as children, like the gun mount is this, and it's got an X on the end of it, so it'll rotate. I've got the 50 cal, and I set the pivot. So I actually went into it and selected that little axis vertex, and I hit set pivot. I did the same thing. I broke out this lid because it was sticking up, so I wanted it flat. So from here, I could change these materials to anything I want because it's still a ProBuilder object. So I set all these things up as children. I've got the hatch where it says rotate on the Z, so I can rotate the hatch, open and close it. I separated the steering wheel, but I probably won't ever move that one. For the doors, I created a child, just an empty child, and then I added the doors to it, so I can open and close the doors. For the doors, I had to actually go in and I had to reapply this face because it was attached to this one, and I had to do the bottom. But I set the, you can see where the pivot is. I set the pivot on that piece right there. And I did basically the same thing over here where I've got the pivot on this flat piece. And same thing, I think I had to add a face on the bottom, which was easy. But from here you can change the materials as well. I broke the tracks off. So this is a track, so basically what I can do is I can get rid of it if I want to use maybe one of the tank assets or something where they have tracks. Otherwise, I mean, I'm not really going to move these tracks. Did the same on the left side, on the right side. For the wheels, I selected all of them, and then I created it. I did the ProBuilder. I detached the face selection for all at once, and it made it a whole lot faster when I broke out each of the wheels. And I just did the bottom wheels, and I set the pivot right there so I can have them move if I want to. I did the same thing on the right side. So now I have a model which was one piece to start with, and I have all these separate pieces that I can edit. I can change the materials. I could change, you know, if I wanted to change this face, the seat material right here, and have black seats, I can do that. That's one good thing about ProBuilder. I also, once I was done with this, I also did under the ProBuilder actions, I did make asset, and what it did, which is fine, is it created all of these individual assets. It would have been nice if it would have kept the hierarchy I have here. So then basically what I did is I created another prefab. And so you'll see on this one, there's ProBuilder mesh, but there's no ProBuilder pieces. So I'd have to ProBuilderize this again if I wanted to edit it. So now essentially I have two pieces, and when I put this back together, I actually just laid it over top. And so for instance, on the turret, I just want to show you guys this real quick. So basically I would find the turret asset, and I dragged it as a child. Notice the top one is still my ProBuilder. So I dropped it there as a child, and it puts it right in place, and then I just moved it down to the other one. And so I did that for all these objects. Otherwise what happens is if I add it here, see, it puts it in a really weird spot. So basically I rebuilt this model and created a new prefab so that it's all assets. So another thing you can do, so this is the actual asset one, so it doesn't have any of the ProBuilder pieces. So for instance, if I wanted to change the material on this 50 cal, I can just drag in material, and I can do the same thing on the ammo lid, and basically I have a completely different material. This is one of the materials it's a free one on the asset store, and then you could make your changes whatever you want, make it dark, so that way you could have an asset that you purchased. You've got multiple versions, you've got all the UVs are set up with ProBuilder. It's just a great way to go. All right, that's it. That's all I wanted to show you. Thanks a lot.